Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for taking time out to watch the videos. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover today. So before we get into these topics, do me a favor, if you do end up enjoying the video or finding it informative, make sure you leave it a like, really helps the videos out a lot. And if you are new here to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. The first topic we're talking about has to do once again with VRR. We know that Sony has released VRR for the PlayStation 5 this week, and it's already being tested and kind of put through its paces, and it turns out that Insomniac are doing very good things with VRR on the PlayStation 5 with titles like Spider-Man and others. So this is reading from Push Square, where they say here, you'll be able to apply the PlayStation 5's fancy new variable refresh rate technology to all of your new gen games when it deploys later this week. But Insomniac Games has already pushed out patches for Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, Miles Morales, and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, so that they're ready to take advantage of the feature from day one. As you'd expect from the Sleepless Studio, there are no cut corners here. Because our titles are already built to have very stable frame rates, the main effect of the VRR system setting will be to slightly increase dynamic image resolution targets, the studio explained. In other words, when VRR is active, the studio's titles will push higher dynamic resolutions across all graphic settings because any minor frame rate issues incurred will be cleaned up by the new technology. There's more though. If your TV also supports 120Hz high frame rate input and the 120Hz display mode option is active along with VRR, you'll get a variable uncapped frame rate that can exceed your chosen graphics mode's 30 FPS or 60 FPS targets by 50% or more, depending on gameplay. So effectively, you're getting faster uncapped frame rates with the same image quality of the standard graphic settings, again cleaned up by VRR. As mentioned previously, you will need a compatible television and an HDMI 2.1 cable, which does come included with the PS5 console, in order to take full advantage of this. Now, it's worth noting that some people have already been testing this out on their compatible TVs with the PlayStation 5 and with the patches downloaded and enabled on these games, and they are getting incredible results. On Spider-Man specifically, they are getting over 100 frames with the performance ray tracing mode, which this is kind of shocking people because that's something that I think many people didn't even think was possible. It just goes to show how talented Insomniac really is and how they are clearly at the forefront with what can be done on the PlayStation 5, and it's kind of crazy to think that they're the ones doing this because they're also a studio that is currently working on multiple AAA titles for the PS5. And I wanted to be sure to cover this because I honestly wasn't expecting to see results like this, especially so soon with the new VRR update. I expected it to help and I expected it to improve games, but I did not think that I would be out here talking about Insomniac Games achieving over 100 frames per second in a performance ray tracing mode on a game such as Spider-Man. That is truly impressive. And so at this point, I want to ask you guys your thoughts on this. If you have a compatible TV and a PS5, have you tested this out yet? If you have, let me know what it's been like. And if you don't have a compatible TV, is this maybe kind of getting you to think I should go out there and buy a 120 frames per second compatible TV for the PS5? Let me know down in the comments below. We're moving on to the next topic though, which I think is a pretty important one. We have a update on the situation with game trials and how it's being handled. This is something that has caused a lot of conversation because some people are worried that by Sony requesting every developer who's making a game that's going to release on the PlayStation Store that will be priced $34 or higher to make a game trial, this caused some concern that maybe this is going to be detrimental to developers. Maybe developers will end up pushing back against this because they don't want to have to dedicate the time and resources to make that game trial. Well, we have good news if this is to be believed. It seems that Sony is making it so developers actually don't have to do anything at all when it comes to game trials. So this is coming from Ethan Gatch, who is a senior reporter at Kotaku. He takes to Twitter and says, sources tell me PlayStation's store team will create the 2-hour time trials for developers, so it shouldn't be extra work. Though I've heard concerns from others about Sony monetizing a perk and not sharing that revenue with studios. So we do have some good news, but also maybe some not so good news here. I think that it's great to find out that this will pretty much have zero impact on development teams when it comes to what they may have to do to make a game trial. Turns out they're not going to have to do anything. Sony's going to take care of it for them, but some development teams are feeling though that they should be compensated for a perk here that Sony is monetizing. And it remains to be seen if Sony does plan to do that or not. I could see if Sony gets enough pushback from enough developers, them deciding that they're going to have to give them a cut of what they get from PlayStation Plus Premium. But this is something that Sony is obviously planning to do for PlayStation Plus Premium in order to help kind of incentivize people to subscribe to it or upgrade to it. And so we'll see how it plays out. But again, I thought that this was a pretty important update. And I think it's good news because I was also a little bit concerned myself, you know, if this is something that will require a bit of work from developers, maybe they'll end up really being unhappy about this, but turns out they won't have to worry about it at all. And before we move on to the next topic, I just wanted to let you guys know that Sony has confirmed that users who are subscribed to both PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now will automatically be bumped up to PlayStation Premium. So this is reading from Gaming Bolt, where it says it's already been confirmed that those who have PlayStation Now subscriptions will automatically be rolled into PS Plus's highest tier, PlayStation Plus Premium, and now Sony has provided further details in a new FAQ page for PS Now. The company says that those who are currently subscribed to both PS Now and PS Plus will automatically be bumped up to PlayStation Plus Premium. That will come with a new single payment date based on whichever subscription is set to end last. Recently, Sony provided assurances that the revamped PS Plus users will be able to upgrade from tier to tier without much difficulty. And on top of that, with this new FAQ that they've rolled out, they are letting everybody know that the catalog of games for PlayStation Plus Premium and Extra will be rotating, and they say here that new games will be added to the game catalog every month while others may leave the service. The game catalog itself is going to comprise of up to 400 PS5 and PS4 games and is obviously the main selling point for PlayStation Plus Extra. So there you go. I wanted to update you guys on this and keep you in the know, but we're moving on to our final topic here, which I think is a pretty interesting one. It has to do with the recent NPD report, as well as what Microsoft had to say about being the market leader for the past few months. So we're looking over here at Push Square, where the title says March 2022 NPD, PS5 stock problems put Sony in last place. They say PlayStation 5's stock woes appear to be getting worse, not better, with Sony's new gen system landing dead last in the latest NPD report. While main competitor Microsoft was able to break a March record and Nintendo Switch continued to perform as consistently as ever, the PS5 finds itself floundering in North America. Not through a lack of interest, but due to a serious shortfall in supply that's becoming a real problem. Of course, there's very little the Japanese giant can do about ongoing chip shortages, but with the competition seeming to have its supply chain in order, questions will be asked about what Sony's doing to improve the availability of the PS5. The sheer lack of stock contributed to a 24% shortfall in hardware sales in the US for March 2022, and the dream of gamers transitioning to PS5 at an unprecedented pace, like the company had planned, now looks dead. We're approaching Plan B territory. The good news is that Sony published software is connecting with consumers at least. Gran Turismo 7 finished second on the software charts and set a new all-time launch month dollar sales record for the franchise. MLB The Show 22, with only its more expensive early access options tracked, performed exceptionally well in 4th position, and Horizon Forbidden West continues to sell well while still holding strong in 5th position. So yeah, we're going to transition now from this and talk about another write-up where Push Square says Microsoft bigwig implies PS5 is losing market share to Xbox. As the latest round of NPD results in the United States already underlined, Sony has a serious headache when it comes to PS5 stock or lack thereof. While ironically things have started to improve in the past few days, the dream of Sony transitioning PS4 players at an unprecedented pace now looks long dead, with the trillion-dollar Microsoft also digging a few billion out of the back of its sofa to buy up publishers like Bethesda and Activision Blizzard. The road ahead looks rough for PlayStation and its position of dominance. And after starting the generation strong, the stock issue is now really catching up to the PS5. Speaking as part of a corporate chest-beating meeting, Microsoft bigwig Satya Nadella explained that his company's newest console has taken share globally for 2 quarters in a row and was the market leader this quarter among next-gen consoles in the US, Canada, UK, and Western Europe. Translation from executive speak, Xbox Series X and S has outsold the PS5, not the Nintendo Switch, in select countries in the past 2 quarters in a row. As Microsoft no longer reports hardware sales numbers, it's unlikely we'll ever find out how many more consoles it actually sold. However, with Sony dropping tentpole exclusives like Horizon Forbidden West and GT7 during the past quarter alone, this isn't exactly the result it would have been hoping for. The first thing I want to say is I think it's disingenuous for anybody to imply that the reason why the PS5 is struggling so much is due to anything other than the supply shortage. The reality is the PS5 was set to break records, as you can tell. Sony was feeling very confident and they had a plan in place where it was, we are going to move PS4 users to the PS5 at a rate at which we've never seen before. And there's no doubt they would have achieved that if they could produce enough PS5s. Now, something that this article highlights, and the reason why I really wanted to talk about it, is it seems to make it sound like Sony is essentially back to the drawing board. And I think that there actually is truth to that. I do think that Sony is now being forced to readjust their plans and essentially go to plan B, whatever that may be. And I also think that this would explain why they've been so quiet lately, particularly quiet. A lot of people have been saying that, it's that time of the year where, not just Sony, but other publishers are going to kind of, hunker down and get ready to get their shows together for the big summer events and whatnot. And there's no doubt that Sony is doing that. But I can't help but think that they're looking at these results. They're seeing that the PS5 shortage is just getting worse, and there's literally nothing they can do about it. Sony can't do anything about it. They're going to have to find a way to navigate through or around this. And I just have a feeling that they are in the process of kind of thinking about what they're going to do and how they're going to execute this new plan. And we'll certainly be interested to see what that plan is. But at this point in time, it's becoming clear that regardless of how good of a start the PS5 was off to and how good of a start this generation got off to, things are not going as planned, and they seem to not be improving, which is the very unfortunate part here. So I have no doubt that Sony is going to readjust a couple things, and I'm going to, as I said, be very interested to see what they plan to do. So that's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. Again, if you did, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.